Hello and welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are discussing about press freedom. So first let us see why is press freedom running in news at the first place. So press freedom is running in news because one of the news agencies by the name NewsClick, okay, it is facing UAPA charges. Okay, so we will be discussing about what is UAPA and what are the charges being faced by NewsClick. Okay, so against this NewsClick, the charges are that it is setting up a plot to disrupt the sovereignty and integrity of India. The unity is being challenged by this news channel organization, this news channel by the name NewsClick. So we are putting up terrorism charges against them, and terrorism charges is discussed under section 16 of UAPA. So section 16 is also invoked of UAPA against this NewsClick channel, okay, which talks about terrorist activity, stating that it is getting foreign funding, including that from China, up to the amount of 77 crores. So this much funding it is getting from outside to talk against India, to disrupt the sovereignty and unity of the country, and that is why we are putting up this terrorist charges against them. Okay. ED, that is our financial law enforcement agency by the name Enforcement Directorate, it has accused this NewsClick of money laundering also. So in this video series, we will be discussing about what is money laundering and the legal space, legal domain of Enforcement Directorate, and along with that, one more finance law enforcement agency of India by the name Financial Intelligence Unit. Okay, so we will be discussing about ED and FIU also in this video series. So this was about why are we discussing about the press freedom. Now coming to the topic, coming to the news, what is UAPA at the first place? Okay, so UAPA basically stands for Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Okay, UAPA stands for Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. And we know that post 2019, there are so many activists, journalists and students who are facing the UAPA charges. Okay. So what is an unlawful act? Basically, any act which is trying to challenge the territorial integrity or the sovereignty or the unity of the country, all that activities will be considered as an unlawful act. But under this act, we have not defined correctly what is an unlawful act. And who defines it? Who is the authority to declare as an act as unlawful? It is the Home Ministry. So, Home Ministry will define whether an act is an unlawful act or not. Against whom? It can be defined against Indian as well as foreigner. So, any entity can against me, Home Ministry can put up the UAPA charges, be it Indian national or a foreign national. Okay. The highest penalty under UAPA is the death penalty or the capital punishment. Okay. Now, in August, there was an amendment bill proposed. Okay, in August of 2019, there was an amendment bill proposed to UAPA, which was saying that now individuals can also be declared as terrorists. Pre-2019, the bill was introduced, the organizations were only an institutional organization can be declared as a terrorist organization. But under 2019 amendment bill, it has been proposed that an individual can also be called as a terrorist. Plus, once that individual is mentioned under the terrorist list, you cannot get it revoked. Okay, even if the charges against that person himself is proven not guilty, okay, innocent, still that person's name cannot be pulled back from the list of terrorists also. Okay. Plus, under this amendment of August 2019, seizure of property has now come under the prerogative of Director of National Investigation Agency. Okay. And the amendment bill also says that National Investigation Agency, within this NIA, any officer who is of inspector or above rank will have equal powers as that of DSP or ACP of police force. Okay. So, police, which comes under state list, and terrorism or UAPA, this comes under the central list. So in this case, a person from central government official, that is of inspector or above level, he will be equal to that of state level police, DSP or ACP. Okay. These were the amendments proposed under UAPA and NIA in 2019, although the bill was not passed. Okay. Now, so ultimately, as we discussed in the first slide itself, that UAPA charges have been put up against NewsClick. Now we are starting to discuss about the press freedom. About the press freedom in India, India's rank, if we see, in Press Freedom Index, this is released by an NGO by the name Reporters Without Borders. Okay, so this is the NGO which is releasing this report, Press Freedom Index, which ranks India at 161, and we have been slipping away towards the downside in this Press Freedom Index. Okay, in this context, even Pakistan is currently better than us. Pakistan is ranked at 150. The bottom 3 countries includes Vietnam, North Korea and China. Okay. In Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras, in this case what happened, Ramesh Thapar was editor-in-chief of a leftist newspaper, okay, and his newspaper circulations were prohibited, stopped in certain areas of Madras. So he came up with this case, and in Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras, court made it clear that it is imperative, matlab mandatory for public to know about whatever media is saying. You cannot stop media from saying something. It is their freedom of speech and expression under Article 19(1)(a). Okay. So freedom of speech of media cannot be curbed. This was clarified under Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras case. Now, what is the need for press freedom? As we know that media is known as the 4th pillar of democracy. Now, because it is the 4th pillar, and as we know, India has 3 major pillars, that is legislature, executive and judiciary, and 3 are acting as checks and balance on each other. So, it is the responsibility of legislator to check the executive, check the judiciary. It is the responsibility of executive to check the legislature, check the judiciary. And it is also the responsibility of judiciary to check the legislature and check the executive. Okay. But this pillar media or press, this is responsible for checks and balance on all the 3 pillars, that is legislature, executive as well as judiciary. So this is acting as checks and balance on all this. So let's say legislature has come up with a law. Its pros and cons will be discussed in media and it should not be stopped in doing so. Or if executive comes up with an executive authority, some kind of statement, some kind of step taken by executive, then media has the authority of analyzing, of judging whether the step of executive was correct or incorrect. Okay, that kind of analysis should be allowed by media. Plus, it is also important for media to present the view in a very balanced form. Okay. Plus, judicially, any judicial action is also analyzed and should be allowed by media. Okay. So, information and analysis of all government measures, this is done by media, and it also increases the accountability of the government. Why is it increasing the accountability? Because if some step has been taken by government, it must be able to respond to public as well as to legislature. Why did it take this step? Under what circumstances it was important to take such and such step? Or was there any kind of other alternatives which were possible? So, it increases the accountability of the government. Now, these are its responsibility towards the government. What is its responsibility towards the public? It acts as the voice of people. So, it is projecting whatever public is trying to say. Media also leads to exchange of ideas. Now, we know that library movement was launched during Home Rule. So, under this library movement, what was done? A group of gathering of people used to occur and somebody will read aloud the newspaper. So, that means media is responsible for dissemination of information amongst the public, right? Now, so, once it disseminates information, there will be some kind of response and this will lead to birth or genesis of new ideas. So, there will be exchange of ideas and alternative solutions can come up. with the help of media. Plus, it is also responsible for uniting the nation. See, media can play a very proactive role in stating no, these are all foreign interventions and foreign entities trying to enter into India's execution or government's execution. So let us not allow, let us be united, let us be binded, and let us not allow foreign interventions, right? So it is also responsible for uniting the nations and educating and awareing of the common masses. As we discussed, the same case was done in library movement of home rule. Okay? So that is the need for press freedom. So that is why we are talking about press freedom. Okay. Now there are certain issues also related to press. Okay. We will be discussing about the press freedom little in detail also, but let us first begin with the issues of press. Okay. The first issue here we are discussing today is about the fake news. Okay. Fake news is basically a fabricated information. So it is mending the original information, changing the original information and mimicking the media. That means it will be presented in a similar manner the way media presents it. Okay. So it will be sensationalized, it will be projected, it will be highlighted, it will be spoken out loud, or it gets easy transmission from public to public. So it will be mimicking the way media presents the news. Okay. Some of the examples of fake news includes Tamil Nadu migrant workers case. So there was a fake news which was saying that a migrant worker in Tamil Nadu was beaten very badly, black and blue, in Tamil Nadu. So you should avoid going to Tamil Nadu as a migrant worker. Then the Tamil Nadu government came up with this fact that no, this is a fake news and you don't have any problem. You can come to Tamil Nadu and work as a migrant worker. Or the Wrestling Federation of India case, wherein the wrestlers were put up in buses and their smiling faces were put up, projected in the image, and that was circulated. So these are some examples of fake news. Now, National Crime Records Bureau, NCRB, says that there has been a 214% increase in fake news since 2020. So, as compared to the previous year, in 2020, we have seen 214% increase in occurrence of fake news. So, with rise of digital media, okay, the increase in occurrence of fake news has increased. There has been an overall increase in occurrence of fake news. Okay. Now, what are the challenges? Why are we not able to address the fake news problem? Okay, the challenges associated in addressing fake news is related to political polarization. So, in India, it is very easy to polarize public on the issue of politics. Now, once the people get polarized, now one side will be projecting fake news about the other one will be projecting fake news about the former one. And this leads to generation of more and more fake news. Okay. So there is some kind of media biasness also. There is funding made to media industries from political organizations, and according to these fundings, this media organizations are stating something good about the favoring political organization or bad about the unfavoring political organizations. So there is occurrence of political polarization, because of which we are not able to tackle the issue of fake news. Plus, sensationalism in media. Sensationalism means, let's say, there is some kind of defense acquisition done by India, and that defense acquisition becomes the all-day news of the media houses. Okay, whole day they will keep showing the way Rafale is landing, the way Rafale is taking off. So continuously, whole day, if they keep on saying let's say such and such political party has brought glory to the country, or not only about this current ruling party, if it is also talking about opposition party in a similar manner, highlighting the heroism of the political party in a sensational form, matlab out loud, projected continuously. This is very common in media houses these days. This slowly and very easily turns out to become a fake news. Okay, let's say media houses are making the correct statement. Some statement from media houses is being extracted, mended and projected and propagated amongst the public as a fake news. Okay. This becomes very common. Plus the poor digital literacy. Poor digital literacy, because WhatsApp has become WhatsApp has become the most important channel for source of information for common public. Now, common public does not understand that any information being circulated on WhatsApp is may or may not be true. Okay, so because of this kind of poor digital literacy, easy propagation of fake news occurs. Also, because of the anonymity, because we do not know where is the source of generation of fake news. Now, because we do not know, there can be innumerous sources of generation of fake news, which can lead to difficulty in curbing the occurrence of these fake news. Plus, every time a fake news is generated, there must be a fact checking done. Now, in India, we have a very small infrastructure for fact checking. So, because we have limited infrastructure for fact checking, for example, we have it from PIB Fact Checking Authority, or ALT News. ALT is the fact checking authority. So, ALT can also be the fact checking authority. Now, there are very few of such organizations who are verifying whether a circulating fact is real or not. Okay. So, plus, because they are the fact checking authority, they are not the generators of news, they are getting very low funding. Okay? So, this becomes another big challenge we are not able to tackle with the fake news. Okay? So, these are some of the challenges. Now, what is the solution? There are certain laws regulating to curb the occurrence of fake news, and that includes Section 153 of IPC. Section 153 of IPC is that any fake news which leads to defamation will be charged of offense or criminal offense. It is Section 505 of CRPC, which says that if you are generator of false news, then you can be charged of criminal offense under Section 505. Okay. Now, we also have laws under Disaster Management Act as well as Epidemic Disease Act. This was specially active during COVID-19. That any fake news that you are circulating related to COVID-19, fake news will be targeted under either Disaster Management Act or Epidemic Diseases Act. Plus, we have a Broadcasting Content Complaint Council in which a aggrieved citizen or any individual can go and put up a complaint that this is the fake news. So, this is a mechanism for reporting the occurrence of fake news. And Press Council of India will be reading in little detail. Okay, but this is mostly for print media regulation. This is regulating only the print media. And we also have News Broadcasters Association. It's a self-regulatory media house of all the public as well as private media houses. But this is a self-regulatory mechanism. So, we do not have a special mechanism for curbing the occurrence of fake news other than this 153 of IPC and 505 of CRPC. Okay. Now, with that, we come to the end of this video, but we will be continuing our discussion related to press freedom. Thank you so much and all the very best.